Welcome back to another session from Philosophy Matters. This is Professor Joe again. Today we embark on a journey into one of philosophy's most fundamental and fascinating domains, epistemology, the theory of knowledge. First, let me define what is epistemology. The term epistemology comes from two Greek words, episteme, meaning knowledge, and logos, meaning study or theory. Epistemology is the theory or study of knowledge, but it's more than a word. It's a lens through which we ask, how do we know? Or how is knowing possible? It is not asking the question, do we know? Because when we ask this question, do we know? We question our capacity. So the right question is, how do we know? This shift changes everything. It moves us from mere doubt into a structured inquiry about the conditions, methods, and sources that make knowledge possible. Let me explain that epistemology is a modern philosophy problematic. Epistemology emerged as a key concern during the modern period, beginning in the 16th and 17th centuries as a reaction to medieval dogmatism. For centuries, the truth was handed down by religious and institutional authorities. During the medieval period, the source of truth is handed down to us by authorities and the church with their dogmas. But that would change radically. Three major revolutions paved the way. The scientific revolution introduced observation and experimentation. The Protestant Reformation shattered singular religious authority, emphasizing individual interpretation. The Industrial Revolution showcased how knowledge could transform life itself. Philosophically, this shift reached a tipping point with René Descartes, who doubted everything that could be doubted to find certainty. Thus began the epistemological revolution. The realization that knowledge must be justified, tested, and reasoned, not simply believed. In the study of epistemology, two important theories of knowledge emerged, rationalism and empiricism. From this modern awakening, two primary schools of thought emerged, rationalism and empiricism. First, rationalism. Rationalism teaches that reason is the primary source of knowledge. Thinkers like Descartes, Spinoza, and Leibniz believe the mind has innate ideas, truths that are built into us. For them, the mind is the gateway to knowledge. Knowledge is a priori, known before experience. Truth is discovered through deduction and logic. Example: 2 plus 2 equals 4 does not require observation. It is self-evident. Second, empiricism. Empiricism, on the other hand, insists that all knowledge begins with experience. For philosophers like Locke, Berkeley, and Hume, the mind is a tabula rasa, a blank slate. Knowledge comes a posteriori or after sense experience. The senses are the gateway to truth. Observation, verification, and induction form the core of knowledge. Without experience, there is nothing to know. While rationalism claims truth lies in the intellect, empiricism anchors it in the observable world. However, in view of uncertain knowledge, we turn to skepticism. But what if neither reason nor experience can give us certainty? This is where skepticism enters. Skepticism asks, can we ever be truly certain? Common sense skepticism protects us in daily life. This is a common type of doubt we experience every day, from choosing food to eat, from choice of career, and so on. Methodical skepticism, like Descartes, is used to build reliable knowledge. This type of skepticism was used by scientists and philosophers in searching for truth. We doubt because we have not to be certain in our findings. Absolute skepticism says we cannot know anything with certainty, but this leads to contradiction. The least to agree because this is self-contradictory. Skepticism does not necessarily reject knowledge. It demands higher standards of proof and cautions us to verify what we believe. We want certitude. That is the reason we doubt. This time, let us understand the central point of epistemology. To get into knowledge. What is knowledge? It is justified true belief in the classical model. At the heart of epistemology lies the justified true belief, JTB model. To claim something as knowledge, it must meet three conditions. First, there must be a belief, the proposition that you claim to be. Example, that Joe is faithful husband. Second, the belief is believed true. The proposition is said to be true. Example, it is true that Joe is faithful husband. Third is that there is a justification about the truth belief. There must be supporting evidence or reasoning to prove that Joe is really a faithful husband. Without evidence, we do not have knowledge, we have opinion. Evidence comes from the Latin evidere, meaning to see from a distance. It is external, observable, and serves as the foundation of judgment. What is judgment? An Aristotelian truth in epistemology. Every time we evaluate a statement, the earth orbits the sun, or vaccines save lives, we form a judgment. In epistemology, judgment affirms or denies a claim or belief. But judgment alone is not knowledge. It must be backed by evidence. Aristotle gave us the correspondence theory of truth. Call it the classical meaning of truth, that a proposition is true if and only if what is the case. It says it is the case. In other words, for Aristotle, to say of what is that it is, and of what is not that it is not, is true. That truth is when our statements align with reality. The object, not the subject, determines what is true. Our job is to recognize and state what is, not invented. Epistemology demands certitude of knowledge. Let me explain the degrees of certitude. Not all knowledge feels the same. In epistemology, we recognize different types of certitude. Analytic certitude is true by definition. A triangle has three sides. This is self-evident knowledge. For example, 2 plus 2 equals 4. Synthetic certitude. In this context, truthfulness lies in verification by experience and without contradiction. I exist. Conditional certitude. Truth dependent on context. If it rains, the ground is wet. If the condition is fulfilled, such a statement or scenario can be correct. Example, whatever I throw upward falls down. So long as I am in the sphere of the earth, that statement is true, because the condition is necessary, the pull of gravity from each. Certitude is the degree to which we can confidently affirm a judgment, but it always demands justification. Let me proceed by distinguishing analytic versus synthetic statements in epistemology. Analytic statements are always true by meaning. An example, all bachelors are unmarried, or 2 plus 2 equals 4. It is self-evident, and it cannot have a contradiction. To deny this type of statement entails logical contradiction. Synthetic statements require confirmation and verification. An example, that Mary is beautiful, or the candy is sweet. Synthetic statement is not necessarily true by meaning. There can be possible contradiction. After verification, you can also say that Mary is not beautiful, or the candy is not sweet. This distinction helps us understand what kind of knowledge we're dealing with. necessary truths, or contingent facts? Let me end this chapter with some takeaways and final reflections. So, what does all this mean for us? Epistemology teaches us to question wisely, not just doubt blindly. It gives us tools to distinguish truth from opinion and evidence from assumption. It trains our minds to seek, test, and refine what we believe. In an age flooded with misinformation, epistemology is more than a philosophical exercise. It's a survival skill. As Aristotle reminds us, truth is not invented, it is discovered. Our task is not to shape truth to our desires, but to shape our beliefs to what is. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into epistemology. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and stay grounded in truth. For the next episode, we will discuss the various philosophers in their epistemological ideas. Thanks.